Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 4, I believe. Week 3, week 4? 4. I can count. Week 4 of our live stream lesson series, Yukon Swing and Blues. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us yet again. And thank you to the one lovely dancer who attended our in-person lesson last week. Thank you for coming. It made me feel fulfilled. So this week, we're going to be jumping in with some 20s and 40s Charleston. And Pax and Katie will be teaching Fishtail Variations, and Camel Walk, which is going to be a lot of fun. Stick around for that. But we are starting off with the Charleston. The Charleston is a very important dance, especially to Lindy Hop history and its sort of chronological timeline of how it became what it is today. Charleston was evolved in Charleston, North Carolina, by the Gullah people, since it was on the same kind of coast as a major trading port from Africa. And Charleston is kind of a combination of a couple types of dance, like cakewalk and ring shout, which is very fun. We're going to introduce the concept of ring shout later when we do the Big Apple routine. And something called juba, which is kind of the predecessor for ham boning, which is a lot of, rhythmic slappings of the body, so you make your own music kind of. But Charleston made its way north during the Great Migration. When slavery ended, a lot of African Americans just wanted to move out of the South up into New York, and that is where it came to be in the Savoy Ballroom. But yes, Charleston is a very important dance to our community. And a little fun fact, if you want to know one of the most famous names in Charleston, it would be Ms. Josephine Baker, a beautiful French dancer, Black French dancer, who traveled all around the world showcasing her Charleston talent. It was honestly amazing, and she's most widely known for that. So I will jump in and start teaching in Charleston. So we're going to start off with 20s Charleston. The most important thing you need to know about Charleston is it's a stepping back and forward movement. You are constantly moving in this line. That is your dance box. Just practice that motion, stepping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Just make sure you have that walking motion down. So 20s Charleston, that's what we typically think of when we think of like flapper dancers, Prohibition, 20s New York, the Great Harlem Renaissance. That was 20s Charleston. And it was one of the biggest things in the Savoy Ballroom right before Lindy Hop. So your feet, once you got that walking kind of motion down, you gotta get another motion down. So spread your legs just a little bit like this, feet shoulder width apart. I want you to get up on your toes and start swishing your heels in and out, in and out, in and out. Make sure you're staying on the tip of your toes, because that's where most of that pivoting motion comes from. Make sure you're keeping your weight over your core so you keep your balance. You don't want to move too far forward, because when you do this motion, you will fall straight on your face. Believe me, I've done it before. Very eager dancer. But okay, so we got the walking motion down. We got the walking motion down. We got our click and heels motion down. So we're going to start putting that together. So the best way I can describe it is when you're walking back and forth, when your feet go down, that's when your heels go in. And when your feet come up, that's when your heels go out. So I'm going to start with my right foot in the back of my left foot. With my heels facing in, I'm going to lift my right foot with my heels out. And I'm going to bring it back in with my right foot above my left foot. So see, that motion is kind of in out and in. It takes a little bit of getting used to, I know. It can be very, very balance intensive. You gotta have a lot of core strength to do the Charleston well and fast. So let's just try that again with the right foot and back, the left foot, start again. Heels in, we go out and in. Got that? Let's start bringing our left foot forward in front of our right, so we got our heels in, we go back out and in. So you gotta get that walking forward motion. And that's important when you're doing Charleston. It's not just forward motion, you also gotta travel backwards. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna bring your left heels and right heels back out, and you're gonna step back in with your left foot. So kind of put all together, it's gonna look something like this. See how my core weight is staying right over there, right over my center. I'm not leaning forward, I'm not leaning back. Whoop. That's the 20s Charleston footwork. So let's go over that again. Remember, you got your walk-in motion, you got your walk-in motion, and you got your heels in and out motion. Just a little fun dance, just some heel bouncies. This is especially important for keeping your connection to the music. Just like we talked about with our intro to swing, you always gotta stay bouncing, always gotta stay connected to the music. And the same thing is true in Charleston. It's just a little bit more complicated with foot movements. So let's try and run through that again, just one more time. Put your right foot and back your left foot. Heels in, you're gonna go out and in. And with your left foot forward, you're gonna go out and in. Oh, one more way. Out and in. And head back, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gotta get the sense of that walk-in motion. Get a sense of that motion. You're going forward, you're backwards. So let's do it just a little bit more practice. Especially helps with the balancing and keeping connection to music with the arms. I'll do a little bit of that, just a little bit of that later. Let's try it again with the right foot and back. You're gonna go in and out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Keep your arms over the entire time. Throw in some bouncies, maybe a little sway to the right, sway to the left maybe. Have some fun with it. Charleston footwork. That is the most basic 20s Charleston footwork that I can teach you. For arm work, there's a little bit of stylistic variation. When I was first learning, my favorite thing to do was just in and out with the bouncing of the shoulders, because it's easier to keep connection that way. So together you look like your elbows go in when you step down. You got your connection to the music, that downward motion. But another thing that was super, super popular, especially when Josephine Baker was doing her Charleston all around the world, is instead of just a pump down, you go side to side. Right at the elbows. Just get that nice little swing motion, nice and crisp. And put together with the 20s Charleston footwork, it would look a little bit complicated. I'll get into this a little bit more when we start 40s Charleston. But when the right foot steps back, that's when you want to go left. So right, left, right, left, right, left, right, step, 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 step. Nice and sharp little movements. If I wanted to, I could travel forward, or I could hop back. So that was just a quick little intro to 20s Charleston. Next week, we're going to be going over just a little bit more variations on it. Charleston is super, super fun to throw in when you're doing solo jazz. It's even more fun when you're doing partner dancing. Believe me, I have nothing more than doing Charleston and partner dancing. But this is as much as I can teach you right now, so just review. We got your walk-in motion, and you got your heel clicks, click, 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 and put together, you got. Now this is a really fun party trick to show off. People are gonna love this. They're gonna look at you and think, wow, it's a flapper dancing. You just became a 20s flapper. How incredible is that? That's why we're gonna call it for 20s Charleston today. And I wanna move on to teach 40s Charleston, which is slightly different, slightly bigger movements, less informed by tap, and more closer to like Lindy Hop. So, 40s Charleston. Well, 30s and 40s Charleston. It was kind of in that general time period, just when Lindy Hop was getting really, really big. But instead of these cutesy little heel movements, it was a lot more about kicking and crazy arm movements and great energy. One of my favorite people I've ever seen doing 40s Charleston is our former Vice President, Kay. She can kick the highest of any person I've ever seen doing Lindy Hop and 40s Charleston. It was like insane to watch. But she was a great Vice President here for our club. Let's start 40s Charleston. Just like we learned with 20s Charleston, the basic movement is back and forth. So it's the same walking motion, back and forth, back and forth. Get your walking motion down. We got that? We got that good? She got that. You're already experts. But 40s Charleston, I'm going to throw in a little bit of familiar terms you might know, like rock steps or kicks. So, 40s Charleston, unlike 20s Charleston, there is a leader and a follower footwork. Just like leads, L on the camera, I don't know which way is L, you can figure that out, but leads always step back on their left foot. And followers are always right. So I'm going to start off with the followers footwork, and it's super easy to mirror for leaders. Okay. For the followers footwork, we're going to start off with all our weight on our left leg. We're going to take our thumb on the right foot. She's jaunty, she's kicking, she's up in the air. And we're going to do a rock step back. Rock step. Did we get that good? That's the first 2 counts. We're also going to take this next. We're going to take this leg next. Our weight is still on our left leg. The majority of weight is going to be on our left leg for the first half of the basic step. And for the second half, the majority of weight is going to be on your right. And again, that's for followers footwork. So let's start with our rock step again. Rock, step. Then you're going to take that right leg, and you're going to kick it forward, and then you're going to step down. So that is 4 counts. Let's start that again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, step. Got that good? Nice and easy. The second half, like I said, the majority of weight's going to be on your right leg. See how I step down, my entire body is lurching forward? That means I got good brace on my knee. So for the second half, I'm going to take my left leg, and I'm going to kick forward. Kick. And I'm going to swing out, and then kick back, and a step. So there's like a little bit of a weird weight change there. That's the last 4 counts of the basic step. But you're kind of going with a forward, side, back, step motion. You're making like a fun little half diamond shape. So if you put that all together with 40s Charleston, we're going to be starting with our right leg stepping back, all of our weight on our left foot. We're going to start with a rock back, rock, step, kick, step, kick, side, back, step. All right, let's try that again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, side, back, step. All right. Kind of got a little bit of hang of it. Let's try 4 in a row. The best part of this lesson is that I can see my other club members standing and doing this lesson with me, so it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm teaching them and not just talking at a camera. Well, let's try that 4 times with our follower footwork. So again, weight on your left leg, you're going to step back on your right. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, side, back, step, rock, step, kick, side, back, step, rock, step, kick, side, back, rock, step, kick, side, back. Wow. In this span of like 15 minutes, you're already Charleston pros. It is that easy. We can try it a little bit faster. Charleston is a dance that's typically danced to like music with a higher BPM. Maybe for like basic Lindy, you're not gonna be going like, oh, rock, step, kick, and back. You're gonna be going fast. It's a very bouncy dance. The same point I was making with 20s Charleston, keep your connection to the music. That is the most important part. That's what's gonna help you maintain your beat count. That's what's gonna help you maintain your balance. That is everything in these dances, especially when you have, you know, balance-intensive dances like Charleston. So let's try a couple Charleston steps in a little bit faster tempo. I'll count you off. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. 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 Just keep going. It's fun. I got my arms like windmilling all around me. Might hit something and break my wrist, but that's just gonna make my night more fun. That is the 40s Charleston step. Now to teach you guys a little something that I mentioned earlier with 20s Charleston is arm movements. When you're doing these kinds of steps where a lot of the motion is back and forth, left and right, it's easiest when you swing your arms in the opposite step. If I was going to step back with my right foot, I'm going to swing my left arm forward. And with every count, they switch. And go to the side, I can go as high as I want. I can even do some like jazz bursts. But the basic thing just to maintain your balance is when you step back with your right foot, swing your left arm forward and just keep alternating. So just a little bit slowed down so you can actually see my arms are not like up here windmilling. Just show you the step with the arms involved. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. See? When I step back on my right, my left arm always swings forward as counterbalance. That's why it's safe for me to do like fun little leans and big kicks and directional changes. Charleston is not just a dance where you have to dance in a line, though the movement is generally back and forth. I can go to the side, or even back down around side. Good turns. The general step for the motion is a back and forth. So, just to review the 40s Charleston step. One last review. Let's start with, I didn't teach you leaders. So a quick recap for leaders, just as easy as the followers footwork. You're just going to be switching everything around. So your left leg's going to go back and all your legs are starting on your right foot. And if your left leg goes back, your right arm goes forward, counterbalance. But just a quick little thing of what that looks like. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. Rock, step, kick, kick, back. A rock, step, kick, kick, back. A rock, step, kick, kick, back. Easy as that for the leader's footwork. It's not really much that matters during solo Charleston, but especially when you're doing partner Charleston, that's a big thing. Especially when you break off your partner in tandem. I swear next semester, if things are back to normal, we're going to be teaching tandem Charleston. It is so much fun. It's so hard to get into, but I guarantee you it is so much fun. And while I'm here teaching 40s Charleston, let's just add a little bit of lesson with some variations. So 40s Charleston is where a lot of big traveling variations come in. I kind of did like a little bit of demo for you when I was showing off the footwork. Oh, you don't have to just go on the line. You can go switch it around. And you can switch it around again. That is called, I believe, Around the World Charleston. And I'll just give you like a little demo on how that's done. It's super, super fun. So if I'm starting with my followers footwork, got my right leg going back. Start off, we're gonna go rock, step, kick, rock, step, kick, step. First 4 moves. You see I've already got my leg kind of braced. I'm kind of in launch position because this foot is gonna be pivoting me back. And I'm gonna switch around my direction, so I'll be facing the back instead. And you get to look at my butt. So just to lead into that again, with our followers footwork, we're gonna go rock, step, kick, step. And I see I got my foot already just like a little bit slanted, ready to pivot. And I'm gonna use this leg that I'm gonna kick forward and I'm gonna propel myself to turn myself around. So I kind of got that leg and I go whoosh. I apologize for the whoosh sound effect, but it is a whoosh. So just to demonstrate that again, we got our rock, step, kick, step, kick. See, I'm already pivoting myself around 180 degrees, my left foot up in the air, kicking. And the second part is just the same. We're gonna do a kick, pull, back, step. Oh no, I'm faced around and you didn't see my butt. What do? Guess what? You can do another around the world Charleston. So right back again. Rock, step, kick, pull, back, step. Which is so much fun when you're doing solo Charleston. Like when you're doing partner Charleston, you kind of have to like, okay, this is what we're both capable of. I won't do much more. But when you're by yourself, you can go like, wow, I can do whatever I want. I can kick myself in a 360 if I really wanted to. It is so much fun. And I promise you I'll teach you a little bit more in the variation category a little bit next week. And next week we'll be doing kind of an intro Charleston stroll, which combines a little bit of showcasing of 20s Charleston and 40s Charleston. Just to lead you guys off this lesson, I'll be doing a quick demo to a very important song. So when in the 20s, the Charleston was gaining a lot of popularity in New York, there was a very important writer on Broadway who wrote a very important show called Running Wild. And in this very important show, this is when Charleston was just starting to take off in New York. It wasn't really like a super popular thing, like most people didn't know. It wasn't like a platform thing yet. But with Running Wild, there was a song in it called The Charleston, to which they did this 20s Charleston dance to it. And it is still one of the most widely danced to Charleston songs today because it has so much iconic history, especially in New York, and how much history it has in Lindy. Even blues started going to Charleston. So, Matthias, play me off a little bit with the Charleston. Play it nice and loud so I can hear it all the way over here. Listen, very high BPM. Cut the music. Thank you so much for tuning into our Charleston lesson today. I know it was very sweaty and intensive, but trust me, it is so much fun to dance to. All right. I'm going to turn this lesson over to Pax. We are still waiting on Katie to arrive tonight, but we're going to start off teaching with Pax Gregory with Fishtail. To you.
Hello, I am teaching the fishtail tonight. This is a fun dance move that. So to start, we're going to start with both feet kind of evenly spread apart. And this move has two parts to it in that your feet are both going to be doing different things. But to start, let's just get our weight onto our heels. Once you get your weight onto your heels, you can kind of swivel. So let's practice just swiveling for a little bit. Now once you've got that down, just kind of do a little step and turn, step and turn, step and turn, step and turn, keeping your weight on your heels on the turn input. So that's one half of what you're going to be doing. One foot is going to be doing this. The other foot, you're going to be taking a step, and when you step, your knee is going to be in towards you, and you're going to start from the ball of your foot and roll back onto your heel. So you're going to step, roll back, step, roll back, step, roll back, step, roll back. And when you do this, you're going to step and kind of lead with the hip. You're like sitting back. The weight should still be backwards. You're moving backwards. And this combined, you take the step with your knee in on the ball of your foot, and as you're sinking back, I'll move back so you can see both my feet. So you step in with the knee on the ball of your foot. As you're rolling back, your leg that is not being stepped on should turn on the heel to straighten out. So you start crooked, roll back, swivel that heel, step, swivel, step, swivel. So your leg should be straightening, the one that doesn't have the weight on it, when you are sitting back into the other step. All right, let's just do a couple more practices of that. So step, roll back and swivel, step, roll back and swivel. All right, so that is called a smooth fishtail because it has this smooth kind of flowing movement to it. If you really want to stick your hip out to make it extra, smooth and flowy, you can. Now there's a variation called a broken fishtail, which is similar to the smooth fishtail, but it's much more jagged. It's not the same kind of swimming motion, if you will. So when you're going to step, instead of rolling back in the jagged fishtail, you kind of go step down. It's much more sudden. So instead of just rolling, it's much more of a, and pop, step, pop, step, pop, step, pop. I'll show that again. So you're not gliding down, it's step, pop. And with the pop, you're straightening your leg. Pop, 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 pop. And this works for more quick sections of music versus the slower movement of the fishtail, of the smooth fishtail. And you are moving backwards this whole time. So let's just practice a few of those. 4 smooth and then 4 jagged. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step, pop, step, pop, step, pop, step, pop. You should be able to feel somewhat of a difference, even if you maybe don't see it. It's much more sudden. Boom. You got to get your hips involved. Now, all of this movement is from your hips and below. This move is purely legs. However, there's a lot of things that you can do with your arms. Some people like to perhaps mimic seaweed if we're sticking with the fish theme. They like to accentuate the movement of their hips by having their arms go slightly delayed with them. So step, roll, step, roll, step, roll, step, roll. Let's try that again. Step, roll, step, roll, step, roll, step, roll. All right, and for the jagged one, oftentimes I'll move back so you can see my arms. People like to have their arms just straight out to accentuate what their hips are doing by creating a negative space. So they prefer to go. So let's just practice that again a couple times with the arm movements. The smooth ones first, 4 of each. And then here we go, arms out for the jagged. All right. So that is the fishtail. Do any of the board members have questions? Want me to go over things? You good? All right, I guess we can just keep going over this. Make sure that your weight is back on your heels. So when you're turning, your toe is going away from your body, because we don't want you to be sticking your heel out too much. That can be something people do if you end up with the weight on the ball of your foot, and that's not what we're going for. We're going for straight line with the leg. And if you pull your heel out too much, you're gonna fall backwards. We do not want you to fall backwards. So just make sure you can do the squiggle on your heels, not your hips. And let's do that again, making sure all the weight is on our heels. And this applies to the jagged one too. I know when you're going fast, it can be kind of easy to just on the balls of your feet. But for the jagged one, you should be on your heels also, so you are moving backwards. So those are the fishtail variations. The first one is the smooth, and the second one we learned was the jagged, or the broken. The broken fishtail is the official term. Jagged is an adjective used to describe it. All right, you want me to go over smooth or rough or broken or both? Cool. So just a quick review of the smooth and the broken fishtail. Right, so the smooth, the leg that you have weight on, you're gonna step on the ball of your foot with your knee in towards your other knee, ball of the foot, and roll back to the heel. And so let's just practice that. Step, roll, step, roll, step, roll, step, roll. And the leg that you do not have weight on at that same time, on its heel, is going to be turning so that it straightens. So you're going to be step, roll, step, roll, step. And you're straightening while the other leg doing that, and you kind of make the shape of a fishtail. Little triangle in your legs. You're a mermaid. And the jagged one is much more broken and popping with the hips. The main difference is in the hips. So as opposed to the smooth where it's very flowing with the hips, and the broken one is much step, pop back with the hip, step, pop back with the hip, step, pop back with the hip, step, pop back with the hip. And that is the difference between a smooth fishtail and a broken fishtail. And you can kind of just do what arms you prefer, but smooth, generally people have smooth arm movements along with it. And the jagged, they just kind of let their hips do the talking. Their arms are up here. Move out of the way. Yeah, we could do it with music if you wanted. I was doing both, but all right. Well, I suppose we could do some review of some blues basics in combination with our fishtails so that we can start dancing more wholly to our blues music. Having one dance move that only allows you to go backwards isn't always that great. Sometimes you need to go forwards. Now, if you were here for the first lesson, you might have learned about leading with the hips versus following with the hips. These are always great placeholders if you are trying to figure out what's going on with the music, what you want to do with the music, or the very beginning of a song where you are getting in touch with what is happening in the melody, and you are just kind of letting the spirit of the music wash over you. So very basic. Leading with the hip means before you take the step, your hip is already going in that direction. So your hip goes, and then your foot. Hip, then the foot. Hip, then the foot. Very similar to what we were just doing with the fishtails. But instead of stepping and then leading with your hip backwards, it is hip, step, hip, step, hip, step, hip, step. And following with the hip is step, then hip, step, then hip, step, then hip, step, then hip. And these are great for finding the pulse of the blues tune that you want to dance to. So let's try leading with the hip. So we're going to kind of sit where we're going. And then let's walk where we're going. So all right. And there's no reason that the moves that I taught you for the hound dog routine, or me or Amelia taught you for the hound dog routine, depending on when you were here, there's no reason you cannot do those out to other songs. They are not exclusive to that one song. So moves that were in that dance include the hip roll, which is where you have weight on your back leg. So if you're facing your camera, the hip that is towards it does not have weight on it. It's all on that back hip. And you have 1 foot forward, and you're kind of rotating your knee away from your body. You can also do variation of towards your body. Like you're grinding something into the ground. Or you're grinding something away from your body. So either works. You can do it on either leg, both ways. So you can do anything, you start figuring stuff out, vibe into the music, and then all of a sudden, woo. And this is a great forward motion. So if you've gone too far back with your fishtails, you want to get towards where the action's happening again, just throw in some hip rolls. Then you switch feet going forward. Another backwards move that we learned with the hound dog routine is the bounce backwards. And that is where you step back, and you place all that weight there, and you do a bounce, bounce, step, bounce, bounce, step, bounce, bounce. And I lightly touched on the arm movement there. I suppose I could go into more detail now. So when you step back on the right foot, here, I will go back so you can see my arms. So when you step back on the right foot and you're going to go for that bounce, bounce, your arm is in front of you like a shield. Go bounce, bounce, back with the left. It is like it is up. You are flexing your bicep. You're not squatting like this though. I'm just trying for you to be able to see it. So back on the right, shield. Back on the left, up like a bicep. Right, in front, back, left, up. In front, up, in front, up. And it's alternating. You can have your other hand on your hip, like a little teapot sometimes, every once in a while. Or you can just do whatever. I mean, arms are up to you and the complexity of the move that you want to do. Another good move, while you're trying to figure out what's going on, are some classic squiggles. And the squiggles that we learned in Hound Dog are led with the shoulders. So we learned about leading with the hip. This is leading the movement with your shoulders. So you go like that. Your shoulders are where you mean to end up. The other dances, anytime you want to use them. Make your freestyling, you know, funky fresh. Not funk though, blues. It's not funk. It's not quite funky fresh. So that was a lesson review for this week. We learned the fishtail, the smooth, and the broken. And we reviewed many steps from Hound Dog and steps from our first week of blues lessons. Thanks for joining.
And back over to me. Thank you, Pax, for that lovely, lovely lesson on fishtail. It was so much fun just sticking my butt out.
Great job.
The best part of any blues move, just sticking my butt out. But yes, great job. Many rounds of applause. So thank you everyone for joining our lessons this week to review Fishtail Variations, 20s and 40s Charleston. Really, really fun. Next week, we're going to be following up with some more Charleston variations and Sing, 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 Charleston Stroll. It's a little bit easier, but the stuff we learned was pretty really fun. And Katie Lapkin will be teaching body rolls and some more blues variation stuff. So don't be sure to miss that. That's going to be one of our in-person lessons. So again, if you want to come in person, that'd be great. Just make sure you bring your student ID or have the app on your phone for the you contact event check-in. Makes the lives a lot easier. And before you come, just make sure you review the policies for the church and for our club. We want to keep everyone safe and make sure everyone's happy dancing together. But thank you everyone for watching this week. We are Yukon Swinging Blues, signing off. Goodbye.